been close to 1 year since we debuted the initial Quantum Waveband Suite strategies, which were initially focused on scalping strategies for the 30-minute and 1 hour time frame. Then it evolved into a trend trading strategy for the 2 hour and 4 hour time frames. And now we are debuting and adding on to this whole suite for just the lifetime purchasers of the Quantum Waveband Suite, a daily time frame scalping strategy. Now, this whole suite has been, in my opinion, very well tested over the past year. And we're going to go through the back test of it and the results of it throughout the past, well, many years, in fact. But in this past year, we've seen these firsthand survive many market downturns with, nasty 30% drop-offs for a lot of the majors. And then, of course, we've also seen some very, very nice upside moves in which these do seem to perform rather well as well. And I just want to go down the list here so you can kind of see what we're working with, and then we'll get on to the new offering, again, just for the lifetime users, because we really want to reward those people who've had the long-term vision for this service. And, of course, anyone who gets into the lifetime in the future as well, you can access this as well. Anyways, first things first, the hourly time frame right here. This was initially my favorite one, and actually still kind of is my favorite one. It's just been so damn consistent. And if we go through the equity curve of the past 8 years, going from January 1st of 2017 to today, August 16th in 2025, we can see a beautiful equity curve here just going up and to the right. Yes, there are downturns. Yes, there are periods where it does take some pretty nasty losses. That is to be expected. Of course, with any strategy that does have a long-term edge, doesn't mean that we're going to be winning each and every trade. In fact, this strategy, which has an over 68.5% strike rate to produce a profitable trade, again, you're going to see some losses, obviously. So in this case, you can see some pretty nasty losses even right on the board right here. You can also see some nice consistent gains before that as well. Again, if you're playing these strategies, you have to have the mindset of a long-term person. You cannot over-leverage yourself, because the second that you over-leverage yourself, you risk perhaps getting into one of the nastier trades to begin, and then what's going to happen is you're going to lose your account's equity before that equity curve really starts working for you. Same thing over here on the 30-minute time frame. Obviously, it being a lower time frame compared to that hourly time frame, it is going to be a little bit more flippy-floppy in terms of the short term. We do see a little bit more less steady gains here, but again, over time, it does produce that nice positive up and to the right equity curve, and that is what we love. And it actually, to be fair, this one even does have a higher win rate than the hourly time frame strategy. But again, because it is a lower time frame, some of those losses can be a little bit overweighted, let's say. And then, of course, what evolved into the trend trading strategy here. This one, again, back tested from 2017, just like the other couple ones, showing that nice up and to the right equity curve. This one obviously is intended to hold trades for longer, so it is really more geared to people who are looking for those bigger trades, let's say. But again, they're not going to be happening as often, of course, as the lower time frames that are positioned on scalping trading. Now, let's go into the new one, which is the daily scalp strategy. There are two versions of this one, specifically just for Bitcoin. There is one that employs a 3% and a 5% moniker here. And these are very, 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 very interesting to me, because this is actually quite hard to do on a daily time frame, just because of the way that the daily moves in a lot of cases. But we have been looking at this and working with a break-even stop loss, which has been really instrumental into producing that nice, lovely equity curve, because it keeps a lot of those what would be losers in either neutral territory or very, very small loss territory as well. Now, over the full history of Bitcoin, there has been 389 prior iterations of these setups firing off, with 312 of those closing profitably, which gives it a just over 80% strike rate for any trade in particular to be a winner, with a profit factor of over 2.32, as you can see right here. Now, if we put that into perspective, let's go into the trade analysis, and we can see when we go through things, the average winning trade has returned about 5%. The average losing trade has actually lost a lot more than that, over 8.75%. So this is a strategy that definitely gains from having a higher win rate, because it can account for those losing trades. So again, I want to be very transparent here, as always, in that, look, when you take losses with this strategy, they are going to tend to be on the bigger side. So if you're planning on over leverage yourself or anything like this, it's not going to be wise with this strategy. You're not going to last too long. I mean, any of these strategies, or really any strategy in general, is going to be massively hampered in the long term by over leveraging yourself. The issue would be is that, you know, you take a couple of big losses. Now you no longer have the equity to actually even put on trades. And then, well, it's like you're just playing against yourself at that point. Now, here's the thing. This is a back test throughout the full history of Bitcoin. I want to do the same back test now from just 2017, just like we did for the other strategies, to current. And we can do that very easily here in the back tester. And by the way, I am using this combined with the Quant Prime service to get a little bit better results. If you are not using the Quant Prime service, you can actually try it out for free as well. And you can even try out the Quantum Wavebands for free too. But again, in order to get this specific one, which we are going to be calling the Quantum Wave exclusive just for the daily time frame, it must be the lifetime purchase. And we really want to reward those people who've been in it for the long run, because, you know, it takes a bit of a leap of faith, obviously. Anyways, when we go into just the results from 2017 to current, we can see, again, beautiful up and to the right equity curve. Even, in fact, a little bit more profitable trade rate right there, and profit factor staying consistent over time. So I absolutely love that. And we're happy to be bringing this to, again, the long-term people who have been in this project now. And of course, you will be awarded any other future updates as well, which can and do come. In fact, we're already working on it. The master himself, Mr. Revin, is in the background, constantly updating things. And now he's got a little team working behind him as well, which is awesome. Really, really awesome to see. And I'm very happy to be a part of this one as well, just because this is, like I said, quite difficult to do over the long term, especially for a strategy like this. But again, on the daily time frame strategy, I should let you know, this is a scalping sort of strategy. So you're not going to be holding, you know, big, massive trades. Yes, they will come once in a while. You can see this one recently right here, opened it out 108,500, closed at about 116. I mean, not bad, I would say. And I can see perhaps maybe, yeah, nope, actually, no. I was going to say another one, but actually, no, that is not true. Yeah, for the most part, these are opening and closing relatively quickly. Again, it is a daily time frame, so relatively quickly on a daily time frame might be, you know, 5 to 8 days. In fact, if we go into the trade analysis, we can see exactly what the averages for these are. For the winning trades, about 6 days on average, and for the losing trades, longer, in fact, so 13 days. And again, if you are going to use something like this, you don't necessarily need to play any of these strategies exactly as they are, postulated here on the actual chart. You don't necessarily need to automate it in that way. You can also use it as sort of a call to action, or maybe just a general sort of bias for general direction, which is what I'll continue to show on YouTube, especially for this strategy here. Now, again, like I said, for the daily time frame, there are going to be two variants of this, a 5% and a 3%. We're going to go to the 3% now. I just want to show you, again, what this one looks like. We'll wait for the strategy to update. So let's go entire history, see what this one puts back. And done. Yes. Okay. And beautiful. Okay. Yeah. So you can see actually a little bit less trades with this one, a little bit lower of a profitable trade rate. However, still having that nice up and to the right equity curve. Now, I want to address a couple of questions here before they come. And one of them is going to be, these gains look great, of course, but I could just be holding Bitcoin and making shit ton more. Yeah, absolutely. And you should be doing that. And you actually can do that while also using that Bitcoin to trade. It's called inverse perpetuals. Many exchanges offer these contracts. I don't know why this isn't like a more, understood thing, but if you find an exchange that offers inverse perpetuals like Bybit, for example, which we have a link to in the description below, you can actually hold Bitcoin as collateral to put on leverage trades, meaning that you are, one, holding Bitcoin, so you get all the gains associated with holding Bitcoin, and then two, the gains that come from trading are also going to be coming in Bitcoin as well. So you are stacking while you're holding, which in my opinion is where the true magic does happen. Now, I also want to address a couple of things here about who this is for, who this is not for, and as always, I'll start off with who this is not for. So, who this is not for, I have in my notes, this is for non-redax who don't employ extreme leverage levels. What I mean by this is, look, when you are trading any strategy, there is always a non-zero probability that the strategy will have a losing trade on any one particular iteration. In fact, that can happen multiple times in a row, as it naturally will over a long enough period of time. The true magic happens when you are surviving long enough to play out these strategies for very long periods of time, months and months and months on end, perhaps even years on end. And again, when we go into the strategy tester here, if I can bring it back up or maybe go back to one of these prior ones, you'll notice that there's periods where, the strategy more or less spins its wheels sideways. And this can be many months at a time. And that means that it really takes conviction to continue to play those stats, understanding that the goal is long term, not on any singular trade basis. So please understand that if you're getting into this, one, you kind of have to be into it for the long term because, well, if you're not, then you're really not playing the strategy at all. And then two, you really cannot employ high levels of leverage. When you employ high leverage levels, as we said before, you run the risk of taking a big loss, near the beginning, which is going to massively impact your trading equity. And once your trading equity is massively impacted, it's very difficult to get it back. And then you're just in a major hole. So we don't want to be digging ourselves into those holes. Look, if you're that kind of person, more power to you, but this is not for you. And also for the kind of person who's looking to, hit a massive home run and get the fucking, 2x, 5x, 10x, 100x, whatever it is nowadays, you're not going to get that with these strategies. These are mostly scalping strategies, except for, of course, the trend trading strategy here. But the rest of them are focused on scalp trading. So they're not going to be holding things, for relatively long periods of time. They're getting in and out when the edge is in your favor. And like I said, you don't actually necessarily need to play these strategies exactly as it is shown on the board here on TradingView. You can use it, like I said, as sort of a call to action that you have a highly probable setup. Maybe you want to enter in a little bit lower or a little bit better, or maybe you want to exit somewhat differently as well. That's up to you. You can play these as you desire. That's completely up to you. And yes, also you can automate these strategies. We do have tutorials and everything on how to automate these strategies. And we also even have a specific Discord for anyone who is using the quantum wave bands, whether you're in the lifetime or just going month by month as well, or even in the free trial. You can go into the Discord, ask questions, and we have a team of people now who are very, 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 very well equipped to answer your questions and help you out with setting up, help you out with want to automate things. You can do all of this stuff and even more. And if you do have access to the Quant Prime service, you can even use these as sort of an underlying driver of an even more robust and an even more in-depth strategy. And you can construct stuff around that as well, which is pretty damn cool, and where a lot of magic does happen. And I've seen a lot of people have significant success. Anyways, I think that's a good place maybe leaving off on this video. Again, there it is, the Quantum Wave exclusive one-day scalping strategy, only available to the lifetime members in the Quantum Waveband Suite. And if anyone upgrades in the future, of course you can have it as well. And for the people who do have, I should say, the Quantum Waveband lifetime, all you need to do in order to access this is you will need to email elsa.crowntrading@outlook.com. And this, again, will be in the program you'll see, and explain to her the situation, and she will give you access to this. Anyways, that's enough for me on this one. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.